And I was just completely shocked because the county board voted against a proposal that doesn't exist. The RHA has not submitted to our city a plan for Newtown Drive. Now, they had a prior plan that we considered back in January and we rejected. There is no new plan. They're planning on submitting that probably in June, I would assume. It could be July. But when you're dealing with these challenges of affordable housing and public housing, and there's these deeply embedded issues involving poverty and race, to take the action that they did last night, I don't think it was at all fair to the conversation, and it suggests that the decision is going to be driven out of fear as opposed to facts. We have to be able to balance all of the competing concerns, including public safety concerns, many of which can be legitimate, but to simply suggest that because somebody's living in poverty and they happen to be African American, that they will make a neighborhood unsafe is absolutely false, unfounded, and we have to put a stop to that sort of fear-mongering. There simply isn't a proposal on the table that it would be fair at all to take a smack at. At best, it would be appropriate to start talking. It's fair to have the conversation about what we want to see, what would our expectations can and should be. But to take a shot at a proposal that doesn't yet exist, I think is completely out of line.
I don't have we do have a quote here from Republican Majority Leader John Sweeney on the Winnebago County Board. He said, "There's an outpouring of opposition from the people that live within the vicinity of the proposed development. We definitely want to lend our support to the alderman of the area who is also in opposition to the project, and also try to get our message across to the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development to vocalize our opposition and to represent our constituents." I think they're just saying, look, we're representing our constituents. They don't want this.
Don't want what, Michael? Until you have a proposal, how could you be against it? What you're essentially saying, we don't want poor.
They don't want Section 8 housing.
They don't want poor black people moving into the neighborhood. That is a direct path into getting sued by the Civil Rights Unit of the Department of Justice. Because if that's what it's about, and I know they didn't use that kind of language in it, but ultimately, if you are taking smacks at something that doesn't even exist, there hasn't been a proposal submitted to the city. What are we really talking about? It is fear-mongering at its worst. It is absolutely unhealthy for our community. And I don't deny that there's individuals stirring up intentionally this fear by sending out some sort of mythology about what may or may not be the proposal. It is inappropriate, and we shouldn't stand for it, because at the end of the day, we can't simply say, keep those poor people on the other side of the tracks, other side of the river, and let them keep killing each other there because we don't want them to shoot up and kill our neighborhood. That is an absolutely false choice. That is not the choice that we have to be faced with. The choice is, do we want to continue to allow the status quo, which we know isn't working, right? Our violent crime leading the state too many years, our poverty rate, our unemployment rate, that doesn't work, right? So simply using fear to keep us from doing anything is the absolute false choice, and that's one that will be a recipe for failure for this community and any community in the country who wants to take that kind of position. Talk to the folks in Baltimore. How's that worked out for them? We can't simply be in a position where we say people who are in poverty have to be stuck in the lifestyle that they've been in. We've got to create better pathways, and like I said, until there's been an actual proposal to be able to talk about, I think it's completely irresponsible to take the kind of action. I don't know what kind of leadership brought that vote to the table for them to consider what they did last night.